Okay, magandang gabi Pilipinas. Good evening fellow Filipinos. Good morning and good afternoon to our dear participants from the other parts of the world who are with us for tonight's session. Welcome to the IGP's 841st Free International Webinar and thank you so much for joining with us in this wonderful session. Once again, I am your host, Mr. Rianjun P. Qualing from Aklan, Philippines, and I will be in charge for tonight's activity. I am a senior high school mathematics teacher of Batan Academy National School in the Department of Education, Division of Aklan, Philippines, and it is a great honor and privilege to be in the IGP as one of its webinar hosts and, of course, to be one of the 1,000 active members around the globe. I am happy to welcome you all in this Institution of Global Professionals free international webinar, and I hope everyone will stay active to participate in our activities, especially in our question and answer part later. And before we continue, you may like and comment while our webinar is going on. So please tag, share, and mention your friends in the comment box so that we can be able to share with them the knowledge that our speakers will impart to us tonight. In this virtual world, we can watch together and learn together. The events and activities that IGP provide to us, dear participants, are proofs that pandemic does not just bring challenges and difficulties in life, but also it offers a lot of opportunities for us to learn and grow professionally. So for the new members, let me give some backgrounds about IGP. IGP stands for Institute of Global Professionals, and it is an ISO certified education institute and has certified trainings and webinars that is reflected in the e-certificate that each participant will receive after attending every session. It is recognized internationally and globally accredited to more than 100 countries. IGP is a leading online skill development institute with thousands of learners worldwide. IGP serves as strong the world communities by providing holistic social work in education to help build a world with a strong foundation of education and life skills. IGP gives opportunities accessible for every knowledge seeker to gain mastery of skills, to develop personality, to become more goal oriented, to strengthen confidence in facing any circumstances in life, and to enhance skills by providing great speakers and professionals from other parts of the world. The organization believes that skills development is not only gained through a formal education, so IGP offers free virtual training and consultation to young professionals who are willing to learn, improve, and embrace the changes. IGP organizes webinars, trainings, both offline and online courses, with the best and highly trained speakers and coaches from all corners of the world, just to create a best learning platform for all of us, dear participants. And before we continue, again, please share, tag, comment, and mention your friends in the comment box and encourage them to join us in this social learning platform of professionals. Such a simple act serves as your support to our organization. Moreover, participants who will attend to this free international webinar will receive an e-certificate that they can use in the future. Today, we are presenting the 841st webinar with the title Educational Leadership, Contemporary Education, and Reading Intervention. And we have our speakers for tonight from the Philippines who will give us more ideas and insights regarding the topic. Meanwhile, dear participants, you can take down your questions and queries about their lecture, and later on, we will have our question and answer part where you can address it to our speakers. And now it's time to start our program. Let me introduce to you our speakers for tonight. Let's start from the first speaker. We have a teacher one from Santa Rita High School. We have Ma'am Marichu L. Gipal. The second speaker is Sir Elvin Francis T. Labandelo, teacher one, also from Santa Rita High School. And we have the third speaker. We have Ma'am Francia T. Labandelo, Principal 2 of Barreto Senior High School. And our three speakers are from the Schools Division of Olongapo City, Philippines. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our first speaker for this 841st webinar session. We have Ma'am Marichu L. Gipal from the Philippines. Take it away, Ma'am. The virtual screen is yours.
Good evening, Philippines, and good evening to all the people around the world who are with us tonight. So I'm very much glad, and it is an honor and pleasure for me to be here with you. And I hope that I would be able to share the knowledge that I have acquired from my few years of being an English coordinator in our school. But before that, sir, let me introduce myself properly. I am once again Marichu Elgipal. I am a public school teacher teaching English for almost 9 years. And I have been teaching online as an international online English teacher to our fellow learners in English internationally. And for this evening, I will be sharing with you some of my learnings about reading interventions. I know this topic is not uh, pretty new to all of you, but I hope you can also share your insights later. You are free to share your ideas with this webinar. Okay, without further ado, let me start my discussion. Reading interventions. Oh, I'm supposed to share a video here, but I guess it is not working. Okay, then. Well, what is reading? So I hope you could share your knowledge or insights about reading. I'm pretty sure we have lots of English teachers here or reading teachers here. So, what is reading for you guys? Oh, it seems like I could not see the comments here. Sir, could you kindly help me, at least read some of the comments on our comment section? Serene, if you don't mind, please. I think you know, I could not read their comments. What is reading? Do you have any comment there? No comments yet?
Okay, we're still waiting for the response of our participants, Ma'am.
Okay. What is reading for us? Well, then I hope they can comment their
Okay,
school and their answer.
we have one participant commented about reading. Reading is the action or skill of reading, written or printed matter silently or aloud by Mom Carmela Bihaen.
Oh, wow. That's a very good comment. I think that's pretty right. Are there some more comment there?
Another comment from Mom Mary Joy Paladan. It is a process called word recognition.
Wow. That's actually correct, sir. What do you think?
Another comment from Sir Gabriel Ibanez. Reading is word recognition also.
Okay, exactly. Well, then, thank you very much for your comments. I'm pretty sure there are still a lot more comments in there. Let us now try to define the meaning of reading. So, according to a doctor, I think she is Dr. Laura Justice. According to her, reading is basically just about decoding and comprehension. So, just like what you mentioned, involves decoding, which means it is the ability to apply the alphabetic principle to crack the code, to hide words behind letters and sounds. So all of your answer are actually correct. I'm pretty sure you're all experts when it comes to this thing. So, according to Dr. Laura as well, reading also includes ability to understand complex narratives as they unfold over time using vocabulary skills and grammar skills. So we cannot say that a student is reading once they could not decode the written text, as you already know. Sometimes there are those students who could actually decode, but they could not understand what they are reading. In that case, with the absence of at least one, which is with the absence of decoding, or with the absence of comprehension, we could not say that that is reading. Okay, so how will we know that our learners are struggling readers? So, first one, here are some signs of struggling readers. First, if our learners have weak phonological skills, such as isolating sounds and blending sounds, we can say that they are struggling readers. When when they cannot, pronounce one sound, or they can only pronounce just a sound. Well, phonology, as you already know, is the study of sounds in English. So if they find it difficult, to pronounce the sound, then they are obviously struggling readers. We can also say that our learners are struggling readers once they have the inability to connect letters with sounds. So, as a reading coordinator in our school, I've noticed some of these students actually do have this kind of performance. Once we notice our students performing this way when we ask them to read, then I think it is time for us to consider them as struggling readers. And also, they have over reliance on picture cues. They would love to read or to deal with materials with lots of pictures in it. Well, in that case, we can say that our students are struggling readers. Most of these struggling readers also memorize words by sight instead of decoding. So they just memorize, they could not read it all by themselves, but they can only say the word because they are familiar with it or they memorize those words. Another one is I'm sorry, guessing words instead of using phonetic decoding. Once we ask them to read, they will just guess the word, and they seem to be not sure because they're just guessing. So then, obviously, that is a sign of being a struggling reader. Another sign that our students are struggling readers is that when they struggle to visually remember words, particularly sight words. If you're familiar with the sight words, they could not actually read that. And once we ask them to read, they tend to skip words, avoids reading out loud. This is the case wherein you ask them to read in when you are having lessons or in front of the class. They seem to be reluctant, and they will even avoid reading out loud because maybe they are struggling readers. They also give extra effort. Extra effort is required to decode, leading to exhaustion. Sometimes when we ask them to read, they will uh, it seems like it is like a chore for them, whereas reading is just for enjoyment for others, or we do read just for fun or pleasure. But for the struggling readers, reading is actually a chore, or that could lead to their exhaustion. Another sign is that struggling readers have lack of fluency, affecting comprehension of the text. So once you notice that your students have these signs, well, then they are subject for intervention. Now let's talk about reading intervention. What is reading intervention? Any comment? I'm pretty sure we do have reading teachers here. What is reading intervention for you guys? Are there any comments there, sir, about reading intervention? No comments yet?
No comments yet, mom.
Okay. Well, anyway, please feel free to post your comment. Your answers might be correct. So, reading intervention, as I research, is entails to intensive or targeted instruction on reading to accelerate those who are reading below grade level. For example, if our students are already in grade 7, yet they could not read simple words, then they are subject for intervention. Or once you conduct your assessment, just like in our place, we do have the project reader. Once the their level is below, or they fall to frustration or instructional readers, then they are subject for interventions. Reading intervention also provides additional strategies and activities to boost reading skills in the areas of decoding, comprehension, fluency for struggling readers. So it is actually an extra effort for us teachers, and yet this will be very rewarding if we could help a non reader, read, because it is quite good for us to feel that we were able to help change a student's life from non-reader to a good reader. So it is an additional activity, as you can see here. And basically, the purpose of the activity is to boost reading skills. And please, I know you already know, it should improve their decoding and comprehension and fluency. And reading intervention programs also act as supplement to the mainstream reading program curriculum. Okay, and moving forward, we have here reading strategies for struggling readers. Sometimes it is so easy to say, I am a teacher, I can teach. But once we are already facing the problem, especially when it comes to those who cannot read, sometimes we will wonder, how am I going to start and what should I do? Well, I actually experienced that on my first year of being a reading coordinator. As a secondary school teacher, I was trained to teach higher level of learning, like for example, improving students' um, comprehension, or uh, skimming, scanning, symbolism. But as I encountered some students who could not read, I was able to wonder, oh, what should I do? Where am I going to start? And what should I focus? So These are some of the strategies for struggling readers shared by Dr. Amy Endo. So, first, we have to, as what we said, we have to teach them how to decode. So, first, we have to teach them how to crack the code or word study. We have to make them or to give them awareness of the phonemic or the sounds of the words. We can provide opportunities for the students to segment, to blend, and manipulate phonemes that are presented orally before moving to print. So, and then in decoding, we can instruct students on letter sound, correspondence, and word patterns. Have students apply that knowledge when decoding as they segment and blend letters, sounds to form new words. There are actually very good strategies in teaching reading. So I will share something with you later about that, a strategy, which is, I know you might be already familiar. We have the Fuller approach. I am using that in remediating my students. And I think this approach could actually meet this cracking the code or word study. Another is we should also teach our students high frequency words. They have to deliver discrete lessons on high frequency words from regular phonics lessons so that students know there are some words that they should commit to memory when reading sentences. In English, there are words which are pronounced differently, and we have to make our students familiar with those words. And also, we have to integrate or teach them the syllabication. So we have to teach the six syllable types and have students break down longer multi-syllabic words into syllables and readable chunks. Okay, just a minute. And also, well, we also have to teach them spelling. That is still under word study. Explicitly teach students spelling patterns and complement their reading activity with spelling task. So sometimes I do, oh, not just sometimes, most of the time, I make my students spell at least 5 words every day so that they could be familiar with the spelling of the words. Sometimes you could not just assume that they already know the spelling because just like us, English is foreign for them. So it is so difficult to just assume. And also, when teaching reading or teaching struggling readers, we can also teach them focusing on fluency. So, what are we going to do, or what can we do to improve students' fluency? First, we could model fluent oral reading so that, or we can lead or teacher led and audio. So, that is why sometimes we can make use of mm, downloaded videos from YouTube. There are lots of good materials on YouTube that we could use if we want to teach reading. And in here, the students could listen to the text and read aloud, and the students could listen to the text and read aloud by the teacher or through audiobooks and ebooks that emphasize expressive reading and international pausing. So sometimes I could also read the text for them, but it is quite different if they could also listen when a foreign or native speaker could actually speak or read the sentences. So that's why I also integrate that to my teachings. I make them listen to audio recorded stories and I use the audio visual presentation whenever I teach my students how to read. So this could help them improve their listening and their reading skills as well. According to theory, the more senses involved, the better is the learning. Okay, next question. Oh, next question. I'm sorry. I mean, next thing that we could do is assisted reading. So in here, students listen to a modeled reading, either teacher led or at a computer station, and are actively reading aloud the same text at the same time. They can and choral reading echo and choral reading are examples of assisted reading. So that's why in my class, especially at lower years, I make my students read the sentences aloud as much as I could because I believe that once they produce the sounds and the proper pronunciation frequently, they can get familiar with how to read these foreign words for them. And in here, the next step that we could do, or next thing that we could do, is to guided oral reading. In this activity, students read a text aloud with feedback and explicit guidance from the teacher. Providing error correction for the students is paramount to reinforce appropriate word reading strategies and phrasing that will aid in text comprehension. As teacher, we should not just let our learners just read all by themselves, especially if we know that they are struggling readers. We have to give focus and attention whenever they are reading because we have to correct their mispronunciations. And not only just the pronunciation, sometimes they could also have mistakes on how to read certain words, and we should always be there to correct it because if we don't correct it right away they might think that what the way they pronounce the word is actually correct, and we don't like that. Then we also have partner reading. I actually tried this activity to remediate my students during the pandemic when our learners could not come to school. Some of our students do have internet and gadgets. I gave them the reading materials and I asked them to read with a partner. And of course, to monitor that, I use Zoom as a platform, but we don't want to make them feel that reading is a chore. So I asked them to read together during their free time and just send me screenshots of their activity so that I still have the monitoring of their activity together. So in this partner reading, students read a section of text and a partner will read the next section of text in an alternating fashion. Alternating reading text aloud allows allows students cognitive cognitive breaks needed for students to persevere through longer texts, stay engaged, and build reading stamina. So, this is a very good activity, especially some students are more confident to read when they are reading with their peers. So, we can use this strategy to help them be more encouraged to do reading activities. Okay, another one is we have, oh, I'm sorry, prosody development. In here, explicit instruction and prosody development is needed to students so students can focus beyond word reading recognition and rate of reading. Prosody elements include intonation, volume and stress, smoothness, phrasing, and expressions. So, we cannot just let our students read as if they are just zombies reading. I always make sure that my students will read with proper intonation, stress, or proper prosody. Okay, How are we going to teach or build comprehension? So, just like what we said, reading includes decoding and comprehending. Without comprehension, well, there is no reading. Okay, how are we going to build comprehension? So, this is the very common problem the students are facing these days. Sometimes they cannot read English text easily, or sometimes they do can read, but when it comes to, to comprehension, it is not easy. So, these are some of the strategies that we could do to build comprehension. Okay, first one, we have to activate prior knowledge. Okay, activating prior knowledge. This is, we could also call this activating student schema or prior knowledge of the text. Before students read, have them think about what they know about the topic. As they read the text, have them connect their own understanding or experiences to the text. I'm sorry. Well, I do love this kind of activity, especially when teaching or dealing with stories, because by activating our students' prior knowledge, we could make them get involved or we could capture their interest to focus on reading. And we could make them more curious since they know that they could connect their own life to the readings, to the story, I mean. So, activating prior knowledge is very important if we want to make our students get engaged. And sometimes our students have this knowledge that they could share with their students because learning does not only come from teacher, it could also be from our students as well. Okay, so we could also have multiple genres, so we can use narrative nonfiction, and informational text. I've noticed that our students also have this kind of interest that we have to discover and integrate when choosing a material. We could not choose boring or very mature topics for them because if they will feel bored and will not be more interested to read. Sometimes we could choose non-fictions as well, or stories which are of their interest and level. And then we could also have multiple texts on the same topic. Rather than moving quickly from topic to topic, engage students with multiple texts on the same topic. Expose students to the same vocabulary in different contexts and teach difficult concepts repeatedly for deeper understanding. So sometimes when I teach my students, I don't just get contented with letting them know of one synonym word, but sometimes I also ask them to share their knowledge about a particular word. Just like, for example, when they read the word vague from the story, I will ask them, "What do we mean with vague?" Sometimes they can answer in our own language, but then I will ask some of them to translate and give synonymous word with that word. It means we could also explore during our lesson. We can add more vocabulary words and connect this to the lesson. Then text structure. We can introduce different text structures and keywords associated with text, such as compare and contrast, cause and effect, problem and solution, and etc. So, I know that we are pretty familiar with this, but other than that, using different graphic organizers could also help them grasp the meaning of the text or the articles or stories that they are reading. So, using graphic organizers is very helpful in teaching English and building comprehension to our learners. We can also retell and summarize. We can have students retell what the story was about and gradually encourage students to summarize the key points of the text. Okay. Well, if our students can summarize the story, that simply means that they understand the story or they do have the comprehension. If they could not give even just a brief summary of the story, then I think we have to do something about it. It could simply means that they didn't or don't understand the text. So by that time, well, we have to employ another strategy to make them understand the text. And then we can also use the language engagement. Engage students in discussions about what they are learning and make connection to their own life. This is a very important thing to do, and for me, this is very helpful. Once we teach our students, we have to make our learners engage with the lesson because we cannot just keep on talking and talking. Not because if we know that our students are engaged, then it means they are thinking, they are processing the story or the text. Then that could build comprehension to our students. We should always make them engage. How can we do that? Well, we can ask questions, not just questions, but hopefully we can ask higher order thinking skills questions. And we can also ask questions wherein we ask them to connect or relate their personal experiences with that of the story. Okay, then I think, oh, just a minute. These are some of the strategies that we can do in order to remediate or in remediating our learners. So, just as a summary, in remediating our students, we can help them crack the code or word study, focus on fluency, and build their comprehension. I just would like to share a strategy that I do in remediating our learners or learners who are struggling readers. Oh, it's not in here. I'm sorry. Okay, I use Fuller approach. If I know that Fuller approach, I browsed, I also witnessed a talk about Fuller approach last time. And just to give you a short recap about Fuller approach, Fuller approach is a combination of alphabet, phonics, and the whole methods of teaching word recognition. The technique requires that the beginning readers should have first the following. First, mastery of the names and shapes of the letters of the alphabet. And they must have adequate vocabulary so that the words used in the fuller lessons will have meaning for the readers. The examples we can start with single consonant. Okay, I guess that is all for my topic or report. Thank you very much for your time, everybody.
Thank you so much, Ma'am. We have Ma'am Marichu L. Gipal, Teacher 1 of Santa Rita High School, Olongapo, Philippines. So let's now come to our next speaker. We have Sir Elvin Francis T. Labandelo, Teacher 1, also from Santa Rita High School, Schools Division of Olongapo City, Philippines. Sir Francis, take it away.
Hello, good evening.
Hello, sir.
Hello.
Yes, sir, we can hear you, sir.
Okay. Wait. So hello. Good evening. I was in my PowerPoint presentation.
Not yet, sir.
Not yet. Wait. Oh, okay.
Okay, sir. Yes, it's
Okay.
okay, sir.
Right. So once again, good evening to all. No? I'm Sir Elvin. No? Um, first of all, I would like to intro- introduce myself. I'm a graduate of Bachelor of Arts in Political Science. I'm also a public school teacher at Santa Rita High School, Santa Rita, Olongapo City. No? I graduated at University of the Cordilleras, Baguio City. Then I took my Bachelor of Science in Secondary Education at St. Joseph College, Olongapo City, and I'm a graduate also of Master of Arts in Education, major in Social Studies in President Ramon Magsaysay State University, Iba Zambales. Right. Once again, I'm your second speaker for this topic. No? Um, so my topic was all about the concept of contemporary issues. Okay, no? I'm a social science teacher. No, so I'm a grade 10 social science teacher or Araling Palipunan teacher, and the subject of Araling Palipunan 10 is all about contemporary issue. Contemporary belonging to or occurring in the present, living or occurring at the same time. You know? Contemporary word is the period from 20th century up to present. No? Contemporary history, the time between the 20th century and the present. No? It is also refers to subjects, themes, or problems that affect the society because they are talk about causes, basis for people's disagreements and debates, and are widely affecting people's life in society. Right? So any event, idea, opinion, okay, and topic to related to current issue or problem that affects people today can be considered a contemporary issue from environmental issues, educational and health, politics, okay? It can be seen in various aspects of our lives. No? It also includes perennial social problems like poverty, education, no? So these are the issues that ever since we developed civilized societies, no? So it was given a competent solution and have remained a problem even in our modern society. Okay? For example, poverty, government corruption, discrimination, and human rights violations. Okay? Contemporary issue also refers to important and um, event or problem to be considered contemporary issue. It must be important and valuable to society, having a clear effect or influence on society or the population in general, happening at the present time. So, and about subject matters being talked about by various groups in society. Okay? So, skills needed in the study of contemporary issues. Number one, of course, identifying primary and secondary sources. For example, primary sources, the origin of information is an original account of happenings that was written or made by the person who had experienced them. Secondary sources are information or interpretations based on the primary origin or other secondary sources and prepared or written by persons who are not involved in the narrated events. Okay? So, primary sources includes diaries, political cartoons, documents, photos, okay? Speeches, government reports, quotes from interviews, personal accounts, and letters, drawings. So, um, this may um, then the secondary sources, books, biographies, articles, editorials, survey results, summaries on the interviews, commentaries, encyclopedias, news reports, hearsay reports, stories of non-witnesses. So, number two, also we should distinguish fact from opinion. For example, fact, an actual event, experience, or observation that really occurred and is supported by evidence or data. Opinion, an idea, supposition, impression, or conjecture. Okay? Also, we have to identify the bias of different social issues or contemporary issues. You know? So bias, it is prejudice in favor of or against one thing, person or group compared with another, usually in a way considered to be unfair. In analyzing information related to the social sciences, there is a need to know that it does not favor anyone. So the presentation of the information should be balanced, and there is a need to present the good as well as the bad side of the issue. Okay? Then forming inferences, generalizations, and conclusions. Inference, a thought-out theory or an educated guess about something. Generalization involves a mental process where one connections information to make a summary statement. Conclusion, a statement that describes relationship among information or data after careful study, observation, and analysis of important evidence or body of knowledge. Okay? So, these are the skills needed in the study of contemporary issues. No? So, next, um, I would like to present my study about, okay, yan, no? My study or research about contemporary issues among grade 10 students in the District 4B division of Olongapo City. Okay? So, yan. So, the objectives of the study, no? This study aims to measure the contemporary issue level of AP10 students in District 4B schools division of Olongapo City in relation to AP10 contemporary issue subject. It also aims to determine the effectiveness of AP10 contemporary issue subject to the AP10 students as it may serve as a tool for the improvement of the subject. No? Okay. So I came up with this study because from Department of Education keep to improve the curriculum of Araling Panlipunan or Social Study subject. In May 16, curriculum guide, DepEd shift the subject of grade 10 from economics to contemporary issues. The contemporary issue subject is expected to build on basic education principles in which Filipino students are molded into socially and politically aware and responsible young citizens and members of their families and communities. In 2017, DepEd released um, on April 21, 2017, the revised curriculum draft in Araling Palipunang Grade 10, in which the lessons were rearranged from the previous economic subject to contemporary issue subject. Okay? So one of the primary parts of liberal education for the 21st century is to promote social responsibility and civic engagement. Okay? These to educate students not only to gain knowledge about social systems and norms, but also to be leaders in strengthening democracy and global connections. So based on this background, no, my research proposal or this research was conceptualized to obtain information related to the effectiveness of this contemporary subject to the political awareness of grade 10 students. Okay? So the problem is, ayan, no? So how many respondents perceive the purpose of contemporary issue subject in the social studies? So I measured the rights and duties of citizens, social awareness and political awareness. No? Um, Next, number two, how may the teaching process for students of grade 10 contemporary issue subject contribute to their political awareness, described in terms of rights and duties of citizens, social awareness, and political awareness. Okay? Then, next, how may the learning process for students of grade 10 contemporary issue subject contribute to their political awareness after taking AP10 subject, described in terms of rights and duties of citizens, social awareness, political awareness, and and of course, is there a significant difference among the perceived purpose of contemporary issue subject in the social studies program for the students? Okay. Six, is there a significant difference on political awareness of the students before and after taking contemporary subject? Is there, number seven, statement of the problem, is there a significant relationship between teaching AP10 contemporary subject to the political awareness of the students? And number eight, no? What are the recommended portfolio-based outputs in enhancing their political awareness of students in relation to contemporary issue subject? So, um, in my theoretical framework, no, in the view of the subject of the study proposal, it is predicated on the frameworks model and models of contemporary theory of learner and political theory of Aristotle, as cited by Miller. No? Contemporary theory stressed that the focus of developmental understanding must be on systematic change. This focus is required because of the belief that the potential for change exists across the lifespan, although it is also assumed that systematic change is not limitless. Okay? Um, Contemporary issue subject is very important um, for the social studies students, no? Because um, and the conceptual framework politics, political activity, and political awareness of great significance in the life of societies. They are deeply involved in each and every detail of their daily life. Awareness is the total sum of the individual's understanding, knowledge, and assessment of things. Awareness grows and develops with the growth and development of the individual's life and therefore results from the various cultural factors affecting the individual. In other words, the better the individual's political culture, the higher his or her political awareness. Okay? So this is my conceptual framework, no? Teaching 8 to 10 contemporary issue subject, then it may affect their political awareness. Then their output is the portfolio-based outputs in enhancing the political awareness of students in relation to contemporary issue subject. Okay? So, so my hypothesis, there is no significant difference among the perceived purposes of contemporary issue subject in the social studies program for the students. So the new curriculum for grade 10 subject is not effective. So this is my hypothesis. Then there is no significant difference on the teaching process for students of grade 10 contemporary issue subject that could contribute to their political awareness after taking AP10 subject. Then there is no significant difference on political awareness of the students before and after taking contemporary subject, and there is no significant relationship between teaching AP10 contemporary subject and after teaching AP10 contemporary subject. Okay, so let's go to my um, results or my study. Okay, I no no. Let's go first with the abstract. So contemporary issues awareness is a necessity of citizens' conduct, since such awareness enables people to demand their rights and do responsibilities. Furthermore, once people are aware of their situation, they are more likely to take action. Because of this awareness, they could be a productive and responsible citizen. And that is the greatest aim of teaching social studies. This study determined the level of contemporary issues awareness among grade 10 students in the District 4B of the Schools Division Office of Olongapo City for the school year 2021-2022. So, how effective is the subject for the grade 10 students of Santa Rita or District 4B of Schools Division Office of Olongapo City? Okay? So my findings are this. Majority of students are female, parents are high school graduate, no? Income of 20,000 below. So they are aware, no, in political issues such as immigration, territorial border and conflicts, political dynasties, graft and corruption. I float questionnaires about different um, topic about migration, territorial border and conflicts, political dynasties, and graft and corruption. And in my findings, they are aware, no. So they have an average awareness in political issues, no, such in migration and other political issues. Then they're aware also. They have average knowledge in social issues such as gender and sexuality, productive health law, same-sex marriage, prostitution and abuse. No, same with in economic issues such as unemployment, globalization, sustainable development, and also aware in technological issues such as data security, internet connections, and phishing sites. Okay? So my conclusions are there's no significant difference in the level of awareness of students in the political issues, economic issues, and technological issues when grouped according to sex, parental educational attainment, and family monthly income. Okay? I concluded this what you call this variables because there's a relationship between the parental educational attainment and family monthly income to the awareness of the students. But in my studies, no, there's no significant difference in the level of awareness of students between the parental educational attainment and family monthly income. There is no significant difference also in the level of awareness of students in the social issues when grouped according to parental educational attainment and family income, but significant when grouped according to sex, okay, or gender. Then there is a high positive correlation between the level of awareness of students in the political issues and social issues. No? A moderate positive correlation between the level of awareness of students in the political issues and economic issues, and a low positive correlation between the level of awareness of students in the political issues and technological issues. Right? So my recommendation, so based on the findings and conclusions, the researcher recommended araling panlipunan teachers or social studies teachers may revisit the modules used in the topic political issues, social issues, economic issues, and technological issues. Okay? The like learning materials, modules, books, okay? Social studies teachers may revisit the modules. Okay. Then provide additional activities for learners, no, to um, to have a high awareness about different political issues, social issues. So teachers may provide additional activities for learners. Araling Filipino teachers also may use different strategies in teaching contemporary issues, whether in any modalities, could modify the lessons in modular so that the students may fully understand the lessons. I've conducted this research during pandemic. So the modality of learners or learning is modular. Okay. Then also may create pamphlets regarding the gender sensitivity, sexuality, and may post printed transcription of the reproductive health law. No? So AP teachers or social studies teachers may use pamphlets, no, for different issues, no. Then AP teachers may conduct seminar regarding contemporary issues in the Philippines and around the world. Okay. Then yan, conduct apparel or and also no future researcher also can conduct a parallel or similar study with an in-depth and broader scope to validate the findings obtained in the study and by using the above recommendations to develop knowledge on contemporary issues. Okay? So that's it, sir. Hello.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for your wonderful presentation, sir. Sir, after our third speaker presentation, we come back again with our Q&A session. Okay, sir? Dear participants, now we are invites our third speaker. Our third speaker name is Francia Lavendilo. Let's you welcome our speaker to the speak. Hello, ma'am.
Hello, good evening. So, good
Good
evening,
evening.
Philippines and around the world. So, I will be sharing to you. Can you see my presentation, sir?
Yes, yes, ma'am. You can start your presentation now.
Okay. So, I'm Francia Thompson Labandelo, Principal 2 of Olongapo City Division. I graduated Bachelor of Arts in English at Columban College, Olongapo City. Took Master of Arts in English in the same school and now on my last phase in my doctorate venture leading to Doctor of Educational Management. I have been teaching for the past 26 years, and for now, I'm presently school principal in a prestigious senior high school here in Schools Division Office of Olongapo City. So my topic is about educational leadership, okay, pertaining to how to manage school. Okay, slides. For a while. Okay, so my topic is about educational leadership. And I had this topic because I know that at present, I'm in this situation where I can share most of the best practices in the educational leadership and management process. So when we say leadership, this is the process of influencing employees towards the achievement of organizational goals and organizational excellence. This is according to Naylor in 1999. So outstanding leaders have a vision of their institution. They have a picture of the preferred future, which is shared with all in the institution and which shapes the programmers of the learning and teaching as well as the policies, priorities, plans and procedures pervading the day-to-day life of the institution. So when we say leadership is a process, we mean that the teacher will be the core person to manage and initiate actions for the achievement of the institution's objective. And an outstanding leader have a vision for the institution. This means that leader should have a dream, aspiration for their organization. They have a picture of the preferred future, which is shared with all in the institution, which shapes the programmers of learning and teaching as well. So, a good leader has the vision for the institution. She will not only plan for what is now, but she should have the vision for the future. So a good leader will not act according to what he perceives for today, but he should also have that vision for what will happen in the next generation or in the next years to come. So leadership in the educational context is also the ability to anticipate the future. So, for example, when we have some programs, these programs should not affect what is the objective of the school for today, but we should foresee what will be the coming years for the institution. So leaders in education inspire the whole system by effectively influencing the behaviors, thoughts, and feelings of those working within it, and ensure their vision by creating strategic alignment across the whole system. However, no matter how effective leaders we are, they are faced with numerous obstacles which they must manage and contain in order to succeed. So, in my day-to-day life as a leader, I always encounter problems, and sometimes one day will not go without having to decide for that day. So, as a leader, our role is very crucial, and we need to have that smart and brave act for that for the decisions for that day. Okay, so it is always said that leadership looks at the horizon at not just at the bottom line. So when we say horizon, this is a wide range of our perspective in day-to-day life as an educational leader. Okay. Warren Bennis Anyamile in 2004 argued that leadership is a creative enterprise involving all in innovating and initiating. Leadership looks at the horizon and not just at the bottom line. A leader makes good decisions which imply a goal, a direction, an objective, a vision, a dream, a path, and a reach. So, as a leader, we should have that goal, that objective to achieve for the institution. We have that direction. What is the pathway we have to take to achieve that goal? What are the ways, where to go, and what to do to achieve that goal? So, as a leader, we should always have the objective. We should have the purpose. We should have the reason on why we are there in that institution. We have the vision, a dream, a path, and a reach for the school that we are managing. Outstanding leader have a vision for their institution. Leadership is the process of influencing employees towards the achievement of organizational goals and an organizational excellence. That is according to Taylor in 1999. Outstanding leaders have a vision for their institution. They have a picture of the prepared future which is shared with all the institution and which shapes the programmers of learning and teaching as well. Okay, so leadership has to get people in the organization to buy into a shared vision and then translate that vision into a reality. Leaders motivate people by helping them to identify with the task and the goal rather than by rewarding or punishing them. Leaders inspires and empower people. They rather than push. They create a climate of trust, and leaders must know how to generate and sustain trust. In order to do this, leaders must reward people for disagreeing, rewarding innovation, and tolerate failure. So, when you have the vision for your institution, you should know where you are going. So, you gather all your constituents, all your teachers, so that you will be working together towards the achievement of that vision. For a leader to create trust, he or she must be competent so that others in the organization can rely on the leader's capacity to do the job. To create trust, a leader must behave with integrity. Finally, to generate trust, a leader must achieve congruency between what he is or she does and says and what his or her vision is. So when we say integrity, this is to do the right things even nobody is watching or nobody is there to watch with you. So as a competent leader, we must have the trust of the organizations. They should be very confident that you can as a leader to motivate and to lead them towards the vision of the institution or the school. So a leader creates meaning by maintaining an environment where people are reminded of what is important. A leader helps to define the mission of the institution and models the behavior that will move the organization towards that goal. Leaders are people who can eloquently use words to express the collective goals of the organization, create success. Effective leaders perceive and handle failure differently. They embrace error and vow to learn from it. Okay. So how can leaders strategize and execute in a way that will promote sustainable growth? We believe that helping our teachers or employees find meaning at work, then we suggest that work is a universal setting in which people can address their universal need for meaning. And as a leader, we should be we should leaders who are who are meaning makers are sensitive to these crucial human needs. And good leaders support and guide this meaning making process. So, as a leader, you should also help your constituents, your teachers, and those around you to create meaning for what they are doing. So they create meaning in their work. So they should also know their objective and why they are compelled to do such work. Okay. A leader creates a healthy and empowering environment. So effective leadership empowers the workforce to generate commitment and develop the feeling that organization members members are learning and they are competent. Good leaders make people feel that they are the very heart of things, not on the periphery. Create flat, adaptive, decentralized system and organizations. So our teachers and employees' well-being should be on a good leaders list of priority. Respect, trust, and transparency should be the main principle of that leadership and team management. As hardworking as you are, let us always remember that the efficient leaders should give their teachers and constituent a quality rest. Why quality rest? Because if we will not be giving them good mental health and quality rest, then they cannot have that initiative to work. They don't have that willpower to go on with this endeavor, especially this time of pandemic. So as a leader, we are compelled to create an environment which is healthy and so that our teachers will also be empowered. Okay. So a good leader should also create flat, adaptive, decentralized system and organization. So um, when we observe bureaucracy, we do not create leaders. We create bureaucrats, and that is not a good way of leadership. Managing change is perhaps the ultimate leadership challenge. So let us always accept challenges and welcome change. With bureaucracy, we cannot welcome change with this kind of leadership. Strong leadership can often be seen in organization based on a network of flattened hierarchy model. So hierarchy model is not being encouraged. So the keyword here is acknowledge, create, and empower. So when we acknowledge the strength of our teachers and other constituents, we create their creativity, skills, and we empower them. So on the whole, vision and constancy of purpose are central concern of leaders in educational management and planning. They seek to establish the best educational policies and strategies, which involves the improvement of educational programs and administrative services aimed at creating competent graduates capable of entering significant position in society and in turn improving educational practices and procedures. So the end point of our goal is to create competent graduates with strong leadership and with the teachers. This is our ultimate goal to create learners who can be functional and who can be capable of entering significant position in the society. So we create students who will be functional citizens of the country. Okay, so effective educational leadership should provide institution with a holistic approach to coherently run the affairs of school management. When we say holistic, we see leadership as a whole, not as by part. So we create leaders, leaders who can manage the institution and other higher positions holistically. So effective educational leadership styles must be based on objective criteria. However, methods can be defined to suit the circumstances of the particular school. So leadership styles should not be based on the leadership of other schools of other country. It should be contextualized depending on the needs of the institution or the school. So effective educational leadership style should be able to provide framework through which the essential part of the school management are identified and improved upon a frequent basis. So effective educational leadership should be able to offer benchmarking opportunities with others, both within and outside of the school system. So when we say benchmarking, we share our best practices to other schools, to other and to other communities. So best practices should not be kept inside the school. They should be shared so that when you share these best practices ideas, they can create or they can also have a good effect to our learners. So we learn by benchmarking. We also share by benchmarking. So with this, we create structures and processes and establish relationship which enable teachers to engage fully in teaching, to provide exploration of dominant leadership strategies, to give school leaders a solid basis in theory and practical application. So school leaders are encouraged to discover the most appropriate leadership strategy. So we have different leadership styles. We have different leadership strategies, and this should be fitted, or this should be based on the need of that institution. So there's no such thing as one leadership style fits all. So, effective educational leadership style in school management is relatively fast, easy, and cost effective if applied appropriately. So I will be giving you different leadership styles. Um, there are some leadership styles that is fitted to one school depending on the nature or of their teachers. So uh, team building is also being encouraged and enhance individual and school innovation in teaching and learning. So why do we need to have team building? Because this team building creates or encourages camaraderie among our teachers. This also foster or enhance the leadership styles because that leader will know the nature of every teacher. Okay, so we have here the kinds of educational leadership. Okay, there are lots of leadership styles, but I have chosen four. So while each of these styles has its good point, there is a wide burst of variation. And in fact, transformational leadership is truly an amalgamation of the best attributes of the other three. So when we say transformational, this is a combination, or this is the result of the three kinds of leadership that I will be sharing it to you. So let's explore and how servant leadership, transactional leadership, and emotional leadership uh, compared to transformational leadership. Okay, the first one is the servant leadership. So there are 11 pillars of servant leadership. Okay, we have number one, the calling. So servant leadership is resulted from a call. So it is not it is not a job, but it's rather a vocation because you answered the calling of your profession. Okay, so there should be listening, there should be empathy, there should be healing, there should be awareness, there should be persuasion, there should be foresight, conceptualization, stewardship, growth, and community. So, when you are a servant leader, you should know how to listen. As a leader, you should have that skill. So, the most important part of communication, if you are a servant leader, is that you know how to listen to your teachers or to your constituent. It is not always that they will be listening to your instruction, to your rants, to your sermons, but you should also listen to the voice of your teachers. Okay. When we say empathy, this is you have that um, you have that value or innate nature of um, putting yourself in their situation. What if, for example, uh, you will have to feel what if you are in their shoes. If you are a principal, think of the situation that what if you are in the shoes of that teacher. So it is not always that you will say, I am the principal, I am the boss in this school, but you have to also take note or feel the feelings of your teacher. Put yourself in their situation or put yourself in their shoes and feel how hard it is, how how very critical and how very draining if you are in their situation. And we have there should be healing. So sometimes as a leader, uh, we create disagreement. We create sometimes argument. But sometimes we should not be looking at that person with that feeling of I hate this teacher. I don't want this teacher because sometime in the past he have done or she have done something which I cannot forget. That is not the quality of the servant leader. There should always be healing. Okay. The fifth one is the awareness. So we should be aware of what's happening around. We should be aware of the situation of everyone around us. Okay. A servant leader should also have um that talent or that gift of persuasion. You should know how to persuade. You should know how to talk in such way that she will be believing in your insights or with your ideas. Okay. The gift of foresight is also um, you have that gift that you can see what are the consequences, what are the result of this situation. Okay, for example, if you decided if you decide in one situation, you have the foresight of what happened or what are the consequences in this decisions that you made. Okay, the gift of conceptualization or as a servant leadership, you should know how to conceptualize in such a way that you have that imagination, you have that idea how to plan, how to create things which will lead to the betterment or to the answer to that problem or situation in your institution. Okay, when you say stewardship, this is you are the one that who should take care. You have the responsibility, you have the accountability, wherein you are the person or you are the authority to have that stewardship in your organization or in your institution. And of course, you should not be stagnant. You should not uh, be contented of what you have or what you will be having now. But your aim is to develop and to continue the growth in your school or your institution. And as a servant leaders, you should always be a service to the community. The school should be linked to the community, to the objective of the community. You will not be working as a single entity of of that community, but you are or you will be working with the community. So that is the first kind of leadership that we have, and that is servant leadership. So still, when we say servant leadership, we takes focus from the end goal to the people who are being led. There is no sense of self-interest, so we will not be focusing on our self-interest, vested interest, and there's always being selfless, or we think less of what what we have or what we should have, but with all the interest of all our the people around us, the learners, the teachers, and the stakeholders. So guidance, empowerment, and a culture of trust are hallmark of this style of leadership. A servant leader puts complete trust in the process and his or her followers, assuming that those within the organization will align with each goal. Okay. The primary issue with servant leadership is that it is not viable on organizational level, in large part because it does not keep its eye on the prize, with the focus being so entirely upon the needs of the people within the organization. The goal of the organization is nearly completely lost, and therefore, sometimes they are not attained. Okay. And education, let us always think that education happens in the real world, where unfortunately, people have shortcomings and quite often need guidance in order to get things going in the right direction. Okay. Then we have next one is we have the transformational leadership. Okay, so there are four elements of transformational leadership. The first one is the transformational leader is equals to uh, idealized influence, inspirational motivation, intellectual stimulation, and individualized consideration. So, with the four elements of transformational leadership, then we can have, I think, a very good leadership style. One is transformational leadership. Okay. And then we have transformational leadership takes from each of the other kind of leadership its best qualities and then uses those along with a deep sense of shared purpose to motivate subordinates. While the other forms of leadership focus on one singular aspect, or another, transformational leadership takes a broad view of the issues surrounding leadership and then uses those as a driving force for meeting the overall goals of the organization. For education in particular, transformational leadership offers the best of everything, from tapping into the emotion of the workers to offering the compensatory core that is the case for all forms of business to guiding from a place of support. However, since transformational leadership is informed by all of these various types of leadership, it is always a good idea for leaders to learn more about these other styles so as to offer a deeper understanding of these forms so as to offer those in whose service they are the best support and guidance possible. So the best form of leadership for me is transformational leadership because it will equate or it will these four elements of leadership of the leaders will be equals to a transformational leader. Okay. The third one is the transactional leadership. So when we say transactional leadership style, this is the kind of leadership with a clean, or with a clear chain of command. This establishes the leader motivates his subordinates by presenting them rewards and punishment. So when we say transactional leadership, we use the rewards and we also use punishment. All requirements for a subordinate are clearly stated with corresponding rewards. So if one subordinate, one teacher will do a good job, then he will be rewarded. And that is an extrinsic reward. No? If they fail to satisfy those requirements, then they will receive the punishment. Okay. I think nobody wants the punishment. And uh, for me, transactional leadership is something which is being discouraged because uh, when we have that transformational leadership, which is the second one, then all the subordinates will have that innate value to work ethics. Okay, this is the emotional leadership. When we say emotional leadership, we have these six emotional uh, leadership styles. An emotional leadership styles, one is a visionary leaders, wherein he motivates members to struggle forward, tells them where to go but not how to get there. Openly shares information, may fall when motivating is more experienced peers. Okay. Then we have the coaching leader. The coaching leader connects wants to organize the organizational goals, help in identifying strengths and weaknesses, good at delegation, and leads to loyalty. So those principal who really choose to delegate, no, then he has that emotional leadership with the coaching leader. Okay, affiliative leader creates harmony within the organization. Very collaborative, focuses on emotional needs over work needs, and may avoid emotionally distressing situations. So affiliative, everything is happy, so everything is good. Okay, and that kind of leadership avoid stressful situation. And then we have the democratic leader, values member inputs and participation, may lead to indecision. Okay. When you have that democratic leadership, sometimes we have to choose democratic leadership, but sometimes this will also lead to indecision. Okay. The pace setting leader. So, these tend to be low on guidance, may lead to exhaustion and decline of the organization. And then with the commanding styles under leadership, under emotional leadership, it has the powerful instance, gives clear and direct good directions to the constituents or the subordinates. Okay. So during this time, no, we need a leader which leads to 21st century instructional leadership. So schools needs leaders which can be considered as 21st century instructional leaders, which are not born yesterday, which do not follow ideas, commands, which are result of his ideas way back. For example, sometimes we tend to say, during our time, during my days. So as a leader, we should always not we should always be 21st century instructional leaders, which are characterized by strong advocacy and leadership. So a 21st century leader has the strong advocacy and leadership, adult professional culture, continuous improvement of teaching expertise, and should be result oriented. Okay, I want to end my presentation with this quote by President John Quincy Adams of USA. If your action inspire others to dream more, learn more, do more, and become more, you are a leader. So you will be a source of inspiration to your subordinates, to your teachers, and all the personnel in your institution. With that, this is Francia Labandello. Thank you very much and good evening.
Okay, so Ladies and gentlemen, we say thank you to our speakers for tonight's session. We have from the first topic, we have Ma'am Maricho L. Gipal, followed by Sir Elvin Francis T. Labandello, and of course, our the third speaker and the last speaker is none other than Ma'am Francia T. Labandello. Thank you so much, moms and sir, for, shall I say, comprehensive discussions. And of course, for sharing with us your expertise regarding the topic. And yes, it is worth watching tonight's webinar session. And I am sure that our dear participants had learned something, especially in strategies on reading intervention and remediation, for sharing a study on contemporary issues in education by Sir Elvin, and of course about educational leadership traits and styles. And because of that, moms and sirs, you deserve a virtual round of applause from our dear participants. Okay, Ma'am Francia, we will go back to you because we will still have our question and answer part where our participants can raise their questions or queries about your topic.
Okay,
Okay,
thank you
so
very
let us
much,
now,
sir.
yes, ma'am. Let us now come to the question and answer part of our webinar. If you have any questions or queries in mind, please do not hesitate to type it in our in our live comment section. Okay, if you are using the YouTube platform or Facebook, you can start typing your questions. Okay, and we will start the question and answer part after this video. Hello, good evening once again, Ma'am Marichu, Ma'am Francia, and Sir Elvin.
Good evening again, sir.
Okay, we have a question from Sir Flomi Salviejo. Good evening. To Ma'am Marichu, how can we make a reading intervention fun?
Oh, that is a very good question, sir. Well, I believe that uh, we can make our learners learn if they are happy with what they are doing. So it is very important, to make learning fun in every lessons that we do with them. So, well, we can make our learning intervention fun by providing and choosing appropriate reading materials that of our students' interest, other than just focusing on making them read or decoding text. We can also make choose materials wherein our learners will be much interested, such as creating a PowerPoint presentation or making them answer some questions. We can also integrate or use some games, when teaching. For example, a letter, matching type activities. We can integrate games as well. So I think we can be creative in teaching them how to read, and as teachers we ourselves know what kind of learners we have, and it is up to us on how we can create our environment fun. In my case in my case I use games in teaching, reading letters, sounds, matching type, and other than that, I also provide, very simple rewards, like, for example, giving them simple snacks or giving them stars that make them happy and more motivated. So that's how we can make our reading intervention fun. Thank you, sir. I hope I answered your question properly.
Very well said, Mom. Okay. Okay, so let's have another question. Same from Sir Flomi R. Salviejo. To Sir Elvin Francis, why is it important to learn contemporary issues? Sir Elvin Francis, are you still around? Okay, so I think we need to proceed to the next question. Okay, another question from Ma'am Isaiah Kiangwi. Is it true that phonological awareness and alphabetic principles aid a lot in reading?
Well, I believe it is true because having phonological awareness and having alphabetic principles or knowing the alphabet is, I think, that is the very foundation in reading. If our students know the proper sounding of these words or letters, then they can say the word. But as like what we said, reading is not just about decoding the letters. It also includes understanding. That is important, yes, it is, but we should also not forget make them understand what they're reading. So that is actually a tag team, decoding and comprehension. If they know how to pronounce the words or if they know the sound, then they can actually, I think they can read. So that is the very foundation, I think.
Okay, yes, Ma'am. Thank you so much for that answer.
Okay.
Another question from still from Mom Isaiah Kiangwi. Does reading more slowly improve comprehension?
Well, reading more slowly can help the readers or learners pronounce the sound properly based on my experience, but it is not the only way for them or not the only strategy that we need to do in order to improve comprehension. Just like what I said on my report or on my presentation, comprehension involves different, let me just, different strategies. We can use different strategies in order to improve comprehension. If we just read slowly, that can only help our learners to pronounce the words correctly, but it is not a guarantee that it will make them comprehend. This could aid them how to pronounce the word, but it's not the only basis for them to learn or to improve their comprehension. Thank you very much.
Okay. Another question from Sir Flomi Salviejo to Ma'am Francia. How does educational leadership affect student outcomes?
Okay, thank you, Sir Salviejo, for that question. So, educational leadership is one aspect wherein we will be having a good student outcomes, or we will be having good performance from our students. Why? When in that school, if you have a good leader, it is always equals to good teachers. So what kind of school you have will be reflected in what kind of leader that you have, and what kind of learners you have will be reflected in what kind of teachers you got. So the bottom point is good performance in school will always be a result of good performances of teachers, and good performance of teachers is, I know, will is from the good leadership of one school head. And that the aim of one educational or instructional leader or school leader is to their ultimate achievement is that they can produce learners which are who are functional to perform duties in their society. I hope I answered your question.
Okay, thank you so much, Ma'am Francia, for answering that question. Okay, I think that was the last question for tonight's session. So, to our dear speakers, Ma'am Marichu, Ma'am Francia, and Sir Alvin, thank you so much for answering the questions of our participants, and also thank you to our participants who actively participated in giving their questions. We are also learning from every question that you address to our speakers because sometimes we are sharing the same question in mind. And once again, to our dear speakers, we're very, very grateful for sparing your time just to be with us tonight. And we owe a lot of learnings that we have acquired tonight. Thank you so much, Mama Richo and Ma'am Francia.
Thank you very
Thank you
much,
very
sir,
much.
for the opportunity.
Thank you
Yes,
very
Mom.
much,
Thank you
sir,
so
and for
much.
the Institute of Global Professionals. Thank you very much for this very remarkable opportunity with you.
Okay. So for the code for this webinar session, we have the code is all caps IGP 4954. So if you are still tuning with us, you can take a screenshot or you can take a photo using your cell phone so that you can be able to download or you can be able to get your e-certificate in our website using this code. Okay, always remember that without this code no one is eligible for the certificate. And without an account on our website, you can visit, but you can't do anything functionally. So we are encouraging all our dear participants to create an account in our website so that you can easily enroll in our webinar programs, in our future webinar programs, and for you to easily download your e-certificate. Okay, so for those who are going to download their e-certificate, you can just go to www.eduigp.com and then you look for the title. Okay, so that ends our webinar for our 841st webinar, and I hope that you have learned something. Thank you for watching and see you next time. Stay happy and stay safe, everyone. Once again, from Auckland, Philippines, I am your host, Mr. Rianjun P. Qualing, signing off.